and welcome back to the Magic Kathy Show. Gosh, where do I even begin with this episode? It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot, and I want to fill you in the energies of Gemini season, since we are in Gemini season, and the significance of so many planets moving into Gemini, because they straight up have a connection and receive a boost and an upgrade from our soul, which is Pluto in Aquarius, and Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius. So that's interesting. It's very interesting for many reasons. Stick around if you would like to know why. But before that, I would like to just ask you and invite you to breathe in for a second and to calm the mind and reset your nervous system, because it's going to be a lot, especially the upcoming week. We have another Uranus upgrade in the mix and lots of shifts and changes. And Gemini season is just known for being really speedy, fast, quick moving, lots of changes in the environment and things going on and news and here and there and flash and, mental overdrive. Not for nothing, we have so many Mercury retrogrades during the year, because it's always an invitation for us to pause and to declutter the mind. Really, that's the highest expression of the retrogrades, and specifically talking about Mercury here. And I saw this quote on Instagram and I thought, that's very fitting actually. While Mercury is still, and Mercury being the ruler of Gemini, Mercury is still in Taurus. So sometimes it's also our reminder here to talk to the trees. Instead of like too many humans or social media or here and there and what's going on, right? So with all of that being said, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is working with us deeply with all of these Mercury or with all of these Gemini activations. And last week we had 3 planets moving into Gemini, which is a huge change. It's the Sun, then it's Venus, right? Which is the ruler of our South Node. We have to mark that. But Venus is also going through a huge upgrade, or has been going through a huge upgrade in Taurus. And these upgrades in regards to your values, what you want to create moving forward, what, how you want to build your relationships, your money, like all of these things, what you feel your life should be, feeling like and looking like, all the pleasures and, maybe the lack of that. The new standards that we hold for ourselves, they have been received by our nervous system and body first. And it could be that only now in Gemini season you realize how that's going to happen and come to fruition. It's like, the way manifestation works anyways, it's we receive the frequency in our bodies, and then we have to filter it through our mental framework and then project it into the world as the manifestation and end result of it. And so with Venus moving into Gemini, and she will form a Venus star point, so a conjunction with the Sun on June 4th, which is a huge day. I will talk about it in another episode. There could be this huge turning point and realization, and literally a flashlight on all the values and standards and relationships and connections that you hold. And again, she's the South Node ruler, so it might still require you to declutter some projects, people, relationships, outdated structures from your life. And so if there's an opportunity for that and you feel like, that was long overdue, then go for it. Because Venus, or every planet that moves into Gemini, will form a supportive aspect, a trine, to Pluto. And that always means opportunity. So trines mean opportunity. So if you clear the space, it could mean that there are opportunities coming your way, filling that space. So watch closely to what happens when, first of all, we had a full moon in Sagittarius that was also in a trine to Pluto. So if you cleared that space on that full moon, there might already have been things coming into your field last week, at the end of the week when we had that trine. And then Venus moving into Gemini and then forming this trine, new relationships, new connections, new projects, invitations to things, ways to up level in that way could come into your center. And I said it before, we have to be that versatile aspect of our soul where, that's not, what I've planned for my life, but it's my soul whispering to me that maybe there's an opportunity or potential for me or a hidden talent that I haven't even been aware of yet. Because with Jupiter also moving into Gemini and also forming that same trine, there could be new sudden insights and realizations and glimpse of faith and hope coming to your horizon where you're like, wow, that's like something that I've never even thought could be my reality, right? So again, watch closely to what is coming into your field right now, because it may be your subconscious really projecting onto you, or your soul in the highest expression, projecting into your field what the answer might be to a question that you had about, what's my future? How do I move forward? How do I make all of these new self-worth standards happen? I don't even know. And so this is a huge, huge time for us, and Gemini season in general will be this upgrading period where we really have to up-level our thinking, because that at the end of the day is either blocking or freeing our reality from moving forward and moving into the direction that we really want to claim. You can make so many affirmations, but if you're not taking action and not seeing the synchronicities and how it could play out in the outside, and the outside is really just a feedback to your inner vibration, then it's not going to happen. And we have to stay open in that sense to new ways and new approaches and see both sides of the coin, where again we see our state, but then also I said it to one of my clients, literally the mantra, everything you see in the external is feedback to your current vibrational state. So it's not as solid and permanent as we think, right? It's actually very flexible and fluid, Gemini, and not the ultimate truth, which with Jupiter and Gemini, it could sometimes feel like our mental framework is the ultimate truth. No, we can shift our perspective and perception at any time. That's also why Gemini is so agile and able to see both sides and to see a different perspective and another perspective and another perspective. And it's our power to shift our perception about things and about ourselves and about our own lives in essence. And I mean, it's a huge twist and turn for the mind, but we have Mercury moving over Uranus and Taurus again. So I think this upcoming week with Mercury and Uranus, that could be a huge lightning bolt moment, maybe even shocking in all terms, relationships, news, again, even the way you think about your own life, the way you think about yourself and, what you want to create and like how you think and speak to yourself. Maybe you realize how cruel you are to yourself and where you limit yourself still. And you're like shocked that, you didn't even realize all of these things that you're still engaging with and have that mental story about. So there are things that we still need to break through mentally, otherwise we wouldn't have that transit with Mercury and Uranus meeting up, and Uranus being the higher octave of Mercury, Mercury being the ruler of Gemini season. It's all happening at once, right? Where we're like, okay, it's really the cosmos speaking to us that it's time to break through so many different things on all different levels. I mean, first we had, we had Jupiter Uranus, then we had obviously, Sun Uranus, we have so much Venus Uranus. I mean, we have so much Uranus upgrading, and I always say that's the nervous system, that's the way you're wired, that's the circuits in your spine. It's literally your entire vibration has the ability right now with these Uranus transits to go to such a different level where you don't even recognize yourself anymore. We can resist that, obviously, or we can work with the energies. And if you have significant points in those areas in your chart or planets, I mean, you are going through it massively. If you had your birthday, I think it was May 17, around that time. I mean, how many times have you been through? I mean, first of all, your Sun and Uranus are like literally dating the whole time. But then you always have that triple conjunction going on right there with these planets moving over. But it doesn't have to be your sun. If you have anything at 23, 22, 20 degrees of Taurus, there's just so much going on. Or also the opposite, 20 to 23 degrees of Scorpio, or even Aquarius or Leo, because that's all squaring you and like putting even more pressure on your system to evolve, to grow. And it's all fixed energy, which doesn't really like to grow. It doesn't really like to evolve. It doesn't, have an easy time with that. But I mean, we just have to, because otherwise we are always in our limited box. So I'm pretty sure that if you have anything in those areas, in the fixed signs, you've felt it the last months. And if you need some guidance, always reach out for some guidance and a breakthrough session, maybe, because it's probably needed. Sometimes we need some, again, shift in perception and perspective. Otherwise, we get swept away by how scary that change might feel. So you can always reach out, Magic Kathy Official, or info@abracadabrababy.de if you feel the call and you feel like, yeah, fuck, I need to be activated and like pushed through this threshold, because it's a lot. And obviously you can always navigate by yourself, but I think asking for support and help and like it sometimes is really something soothing for the nervous system, instead of like needing to do everything yourself all the time. So I'm here to guide, always happy to guide and shift some energy around, because that's really what we do after the sessions. The world is always a brighter place. That's my intention, at least in all times, and it usually always happens. So yeah, that being said, it really depends on where the Taurus and Gemini areas in your chart are, because Jupiter moving into Gemini is a big deal that will be with you for an entire year, and that area will be highlighted, and there will be a magnifying glass on that area in your chart, and it will play out straight away with that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that we had before. But now it's like bringing it really into your local environment, your relationships, your the way you speak. I said it on my forecast. It's like you have to really be authentic now. North Node is also still in Aries, where it's like, this is what I am now, who I am now, what I claim now. And the people closest to you need to know. Your environment needs to be a reflection of that. It all has to sort of match. And Jupiter is really putting a magnifying glass on, now what you want. And you cannot lie to yourself anymore. You cannot hide anything from the world anymore. Again, South Node Libra, it's no people pleasing anymore. No hiding, your truth, your values, what you want to claim, because then you send out mixed signals. At the end of the day, if you really get the concept of there's no other, who are you lying to? Or who are you hiding something from if you're not speaking your truth? Like from yourself. You're not in integrity and authentic to yourself, right? Because everyone out there, quote unquote, is a reflection of your inner state. So, right? And that's also why we have to sometimes, when we cut people off or we say no to projects, it's actually reclaiming what we want instead, right? So it's redirecting our energy to what we want instead. Even if we don't have a replacement, quote unquote, yet, right? It doesn't matter, because energetically, it means that we put out a vibrational statement. This is not what I want anymore. This is not what I stand for anymore. This is not what I vote with my energy for anymore, right? So when you say no to something, there's always in this universe, there is no, again, I'm bringing it back to Gemini. There's always duality. When you say no to something, you also say yes to something else, right? Always. So with saying no, you instantly say yes. With saying yes, you also say instantly no. And applying that to, for example, you say yes to interacting and engaging with someone who always causes you trouble, always have issues with always, there's disruption and it brings chaos to your mind. When you say yes, meaning that, even though that person annoys you and fuck, I don't want this anymore, but talking to this person and engaging with it, that's a yes. And so you instantly say no while saying yes, and you might not feel like I'm saying yes, but you're actually saying yes by the action that you take. That's a yes, right? Again, reminder that also Gemini, talking alone is not the thing. What really actually votes and says yes or no is the way we take action. So saying that, pay attention to how you act, how you move, right? And Mars moves over the North Node in Aries, so it's really about following your impulses, your intuition, and really taking action from a stand of power, not from a state of victim or woundedness, Chiron and Aries as well. And reminding yourself really that with every action you take, you say yes and no to something. So what are your actions vibrationally sending out to the universal whole, so to speak, which then means you will know what kind of feedback you will get, right? It's also how you take your power back. So am I engaging with the person that upsets me, that says, yes, I'm a match and, I'm open to put my energy out there for connections like that? And then you might attract more of that, right? Or this person triggers you even more. Or you say no to that person, you might feel, a story around being bad or, whatever comes up in your brain. But it's actually you saying yes to what you want instead. Like to, hey, yes, fuck, I want easier connections. I want, smoother connections, effortless connections, like all of these things. So always remember that your action is a yes and no that you send out. The duality of things, right? It's not just one. It's not just you saying no and being, an asshole, following your way. No. But then also, what is people pleasing? It's a self-rejection, right? So I think for some reason I needed to say that, because there will be lots of plot twists and shifts in relationships as well that need to happen, that will happen. To witness that in creative projects, maybe even in your work environment. Again, it's very, very, very connected to where that Gemini Taurus area is in your chart and also where the Aries North Node is, because that's all working together. You can see, I guess, if you follow along in the podcast, how this is an entire story playing out now since the end of March. And it's beautiful to see. It's cosmic poetry, I always say, how these energies work inside of us and really help us to move forward. Astrology for me, it's a map, it's a guidance, it's a language that is encoded in our cells that can bring us back home, right? To our truth, to our nature, to our authentic self, to our soul. And so instead of seeing it as a detriment or as something that works against you, it's like, no, it's actually guiding me back to where I want to be. Oh my gosh, where I'm happy. So let me just flow with it instead of like constantly feeling like the stars are messing up my life. No, it's actually clearing and clearing and clearing all the layers of conditioning that you might not even be aware of. And so obviously that's also why I love to work with human design. It tells you exactly what your energetic blueprint is, where you are energetically and who you are energetically. It's all, we have so many tools that help and assist us. But there are obviously people that resist that, willingness to hear, to listen, and to really see it as a supportive tool or see these things as supportive tools. So they might feel like it's too complicated and I never get it. But that's why we have people, you don't have to study Chinese medicine in order to use the benefits of it. You can actually go to a practitioner. That's why we have people that have the talent and the gifts, and can guide us along the way and can help us understand it. Because at the end of the day, you are your own healer. You can tap in yourself obviously, if you sit long enough in meditation, you can literally tap into your cells and read the code on there. I mean, I know that firsthand, but it's not so easy for everyone, right? And so again, that's why we have things in the external, which again, if you really get the concept, who created that? Like, who projected right now this podcast into your hologram, right? It was you. You knew, okay, I need to put this human some reminder, some reframe, some boost of encouragement, or whatever it may be, whatever takeaway it is that you have from this episode. That's the takeaway you needed today, or the reminder you needed today, in order for something to happen in your life. And so your soul knew, okay, I need to project something out into the field that helps her remember. It could be my podcast, it could be this episode, it could be a book, it could be a conversation with someone, it could be, whatever it may be, a YouTube video all of a sudden popping up. That's all you creating some reflection, right? Some feedback in your external world, so you could learn something, realize something, or integrate something, right? So, with all of that being said, I feel I'm complete for this episode and filled you into the energies. Be prepared for plot twists. Be open for them. It still feels really eclipsy, I have to say. I feel like while we have all of these Uranus things going on, reality just feels eclipsy, which is nice, because eclipse and Uranus is always energy, plot twists. Again, that's clearing the path to move you closer to your soul, because it's breaking us, or helping us to break through these boundaries that the Saturnian world put on us, the matrix, however you want to say that, right? Your inner boundaries, your inner limitations, the box that you put yourself into and thought yourself to be. And it's helping us to move past that, which is awesome, because we need that. We need to come closer to our souls, closer to our true authentic selves. And yeah, if that needs some plot twists, then that's just what it is, and you have to stay open for them. If you need guidance, if you need perception shifts, let me know. And yeah, again, if you have anything significant, planets or sun or whatever in the degree points that I mentioned, 20 to 23 degrees of Taurus, you definitely want to look into a reading. If you have your birthday around June 4th, or anything significant in the 14 degree mark of Gemini, so mid Gemini, then also I think you're highly activated, and you might want to look into some guidance and readings. Because I'm putting that out there so much because we all need to be fucking on course now. I'm not like over exaggerating here, but time is kind of like running out. 2027 is around the corner, and you gotta just all be on fire. That's also why I thought about bringing back the projector activation intensive. Projectors, I've said it over and over and over again, are the leaders of the new world. And if they are still in there, I'm not seen, I'm hiding, I'm like, no one wants to hear me, I don't even know what to guide with, then it's just not like, we need you on board, like we need you to guide the collective. And so thinking about bringing that back, I'm sitting with it, right? If you would be interested, let me know. Maybe text me on Instagram. I put out a poll and asked a few people, and they were on fire already. So if you're a projector and you would like to really step into your ability to lead or to be a leader as a guide in the new world, because that's the new way of leading, really. It's guidance. It's having the insight and then guiding from that place, not like just leading the way like a manifestor would, like just saying like, this is what we do. No, a projector is really penetrating the aura of wherever guidance is needed and knows the clear path. So it's kind of like short-circuiting the whole process, which is also, again, me being a projector. I know I can project, or I can lead other projectors and guide other projectors, because I can literally short circuit and collapse the time of growth and evolution that you would need to do in order to come to the place where you can be of the highest service. So all of that being said, lots of wording. Let me know if you would be interested. And yeah, share the episode, spread the word. it's Gemini season, so I'm always happy to hear some feedback. I'm happy to have a chat with you, and I'm happy if you leave a review on iTunes, because it also spreads the awareness. And so, yeah, that would mean the world to me. Let me know how and when you listen, what your takeaway was, and maybe share it with a friend who needs some mental reframe work. And yeah, then we will see each other soon. And in the meantime, I hope that you obviously step in your magic.